Hello. I just made you a co-host in case
Great.
I need some tech help.
Yeah, perfect. I'm here. I'm ready. Awesome.
Great. There we go.
I don't understand Zoom. I mean, sometimes it has my pronouns, sometimes it doesn't have my pronouns. Sometimes it has my whole name, sometimes it just says Dan. Sometimes it's like I'm the same dude logging in every single time. It's weird.
Yeah, I've had the Zoom account open a lot lately, checking numbers for this and next week's thing. And so I've ended up logging in as Kim for a lot of things. So.
Oh yeah, right. Hello. Yeah.
Like, I don't know if that affects her ability to log in for meetings.
I don't know. I
hope not.
Like, it's a strange platform, but
It
works more often than not, which is good. I also have the slides up too, so if anything goes wonky there, I can.
Thank you. And so you're seeing the Advocacy 101 intros, the first slide, right?
I am.
Okay.
I've got it set up with you over on my right.
Perfect.
Right now.
It's weird because I don't know what other people see.
That's the hard part about sharing. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard to attend to. You can't really, if you're sharing your screen, you can't really attend to any of the tech or anything because, well, Christina Trecha can. She's like that's her superpower, is like online platformy stuff.
My participants. Do I have chat? Okay, I do. I can see chat.
You can? Okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna X out of it for now. Will you just kind of alert me if there's something important in chat?
Yep.
Hi, Sophia.
Can you hear me?
Yes. You're listed as my name, though.
You guys hear me?
Yes.
Oops. Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, good. Let's see. Okay, I thought I set these settings up already. That's weird. For my video. Because I can be on video for other Zoom meetings. That makes no sense. Maybe I had an update.
Hey, Benno.
Hello.
Hi, Benno.
If you hear any loud banging noises in the background, that's just my brother hammering in the basement still.
Thanks for being here, Benno. And if you have any insight at any point, feel free to chime in. And
cool. Yeah, I may have to jump out like in about half an hour because I have to feed my kids, and then there's a quarter school board meeting at 7. So I have an evening filled of Zoom tonight.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Benno. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Dan knows my wife is running for school board, so I'm also like, I'm basically managing a campaign for 4 people, and I started a political action committee, and we're like up and running, man. I'm fundraising.
First candidate. I mean, I'm 56, and she's the first time I've ever actually endorsed a candidate for anything.
Wow.
The voters pamphlet and stuff for it. So
all of a sudden, you matter, man. Like people are like,
no, I'm motivated. I want her to win.
Yeah, I just picked up 50 more signs, so I'll bring you a sign, Dan.
Wow.
Yeah, we'll get that beer, and
that sounds good.
Yeah, we'll strategize on the porch a little bit. It'll be great.
Okay. Yeah, I got a new deck, so you can sit on it.
Ooh, that sounds nice.
It's not totally done, but it's you can sit. A person can sit on it now, so that's good. It used to be a big hole in the ground.
Looks like Kim's coming back. It's interesting. I feel like I know a lot of people running for a lot of different positions recently.
That's awesome.
It's really neat.
It is awesome. Yeah.
We need to see more of that. Just citizens being like, I can, You know, one thing that's really interesting, just speaking of now that we're sort of in the advocacy world, the minute that Vanessa declared her candidacy and put in a statement in the voters pamphlet, so you have to put in your address and your phone number, she started getting mailers and phone calls like immediately. Companies who do printing or other types of things. But she also started getting a lot of, like, in particular, really conservative think tank type places that wanted to sort of like have her take their poll, and she did not get, so like Planned Parenthood does a lot of endorsing, and they do all these school board endorsements across Multnomah County, and they just totally overlooked Corbett and Vanessa. So they actually called her about other school board, and she was like, do you know that I'm running for the school board and I've donated to you guys for years, and I've door knocked for you guys, like. So anyway, my point is when people put in for the ballot, the voter pamphlet guide, all those candidates have their information public, and a lot of organizations actually look at that early and start contacting people.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Hi, Brenda. There you are.
Hello.
Nice to see you. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thank you.
For being here, Brenda. Give folks a few more minutes to join us.
Sophia, just so you know, I don't know why, if I look on my settings, my video is connected to Zoom, but for some reason it's just, that's why I kept popping out and popping in. But for some reason it's just not, and I don't want to reboot my computer right now.
Okay,
I had an update, so maybe that's it. So I apologize.
that's okay.
It's weird. Sorry about that.
Guess we'll just have to do with your voice for this evening.
My voice. Oh, I just went to the bottom. Your device needs to restart to install updates. So, but I'm not going to do that right now because
Okay.
we have people coming.
All right. How's everyone's week going so far? It's Wednesday, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Middle of the week.
Woohoo! All downhill from here.
I feel like the fact that I don't actually know what day it is tells you the kind of week.
A lot about your week. Yeah.
Well, I'm looking at my beautiful backyard right now and really wishing I could sit out there, but the flowers are still on the trees. So I'll give it another week.
Yeah. Grateful I got to get outside.
Our alders leafed out on Sunday morning. Like it's usually between April 15th and April 30th. And like Saturday night, I was sitting out on the deck and the alders were not leafed out. And Sunday morning, I got up and walked out on the deck and they had leafed out. It was really cool.
That's how our grapes were. It's so crazy, really quickly. We planted, I had planted seeds, like 6 weeks ago or something, and of tomatoes, peppers, and zucchinis. And so I put them out over the weekend. And the good thing I kept all of them instead of giving away all of the many plants that I got from the seeds, because the squirrels keep coming, and I have netting, but they're smart little buggers and they keep going and getting those microgreen tomato plants. So annoying. I need to just put the dog out there, and as the squirrels try to come, she just bark them away. Except she too will eat the little plants.
Give folks 1 or 2 more minutes to get in here. I feel like 6 o'clock is, I feel like people might be grabbing some food or something. feel like I should have had some music going next time.
Some dancing, some music.
Yeah. I was on a call earlier that had a great, it had like a fish tank timer for when our like breaks. And so I had little like fish roaming around with a little timer in the middle of it.
Oh, that's perfect.
Nifty.
There's a lot of clever things you can do if you just know how.
Yeah.
Mostly I see other people doing clever things. I don't really know how to do them.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we have Sophia.
Yeah, thank goodness.
Agreed. Agreed.
All right. What do y'all think? Shall we get started?
Yeah, they can catch up, and Dan and I will greet everybody by chat.
Great. And Dan, I think since you're co-host, you can admit people. Is that
Yep.
okay? Great. I will let you do that, and I will get us started. Well, welcome to our Advocacy 101 training. I'm Sophia. Both of y'all, I think, know me. Brenda, I can't wait to meet you in person. I feel like I have seen you so much on Zoom, and I am excited to meet you in person. So welcome.
Guys, I am eating.
No worries. All right. Here's just a little agenda for this evening, and I am going to start us off with a land acknowledgement. We will do a quick intro to the rest of the Friends of Outdoor School team, an intro to advocating for outdoor school, different ways to advocate, navigating the toolkit, and then questions and answers. And we will be recording this and posting it to the website. So if you would like to turn off your video, this might be a good time to do so. We want to take a moment to recognize that all outdoor education, in fact, all education takes place on Indigenous homelands. I'm in Bend, Oregon, which is the traditional homelands of the Warm Springs, Wasco, and Northern Paiute people. I would like to invite you all to share in the chat what Indigenous homelands you're currently on. And if you don't know, you can look that information up using the link that Dan is going to put in the chat. I would also like to take a moment to acknowledge the emotionally charged times that we're in. We decided to move forward with this training as we feel that advocacy is incredibly important in this moment. And if this is not where you feel you need to be right now, we invite you to take care of yourself and your needs. And you are welcome to watch the recording when it becomes available. So if you'd like to discuss any of this further, please don't hesitate to reach out to any of us on the Friends team. As I said, this presentation will be recorded and posted to our website. Everyone's like everyone who wants their videos off has been turned off. And I am going to, I think everyone's muted. So just so we can avoid some background noise, and feel free to ask questions in the chat. I know Kim and Dan are going to keep an eye on that, and we'll have a couple moments in the presentation to take some questions live as well. All right, as I said, I'm Sophia. I'm the network coordinator for Friends of Outdoor School. Kim, would you like to introduce yourself?
I am Kim Silva. I am the executive director of Friends of Outdoor School, and thank you for coming. And a few more people probably going to be coming by very soon.
Dan, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. I'm Dan Prince. I'm the Associate Director of Friends of Outdoor School, and really happy to be here and happy to see you.
Thank you. Our mission at Friends of Outdoor School is that we are dedicated to increasing student access to Oregon outdoor school programs that contribute to educational development, inspire youth, and promote personal growth. I just think that's a great place for us to start. Here's a brief history of Friends of Outdoor School and advocating for Friends of Outdoor School. So 2015, Friends of Outdoor School helped pass House Bill 439, which established the first ever statewide outdoor school program administered by OSU Extension Service. In 2016, Friends of Outdoor School established and led the team to secure state funding for outdoor school via Measure 99, which passed in November of 2016 to fund outdoor school with lottery dollars. In 2017, due to budget shortfalls, outdoor school was only partially funded for the 2017-19 biennium. And in 2019, outdoor school was fully funded for the 2019-2021 biennium. 2021, the governor has included full funding for outdoor school in the 2021 and 23 budget, and we are now focused on keeping full funding in the legislative budget, and Dan is going to talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, thanks, Sophia. So just for this particular moment in time, just so everybody knows the process, the governor creates a proposed budget, and then the legislature is actually the body that passes a budget for the state. And so the Ways and Means Committee is a joint committee of the House and Senate, and they are responsible for constructing and passing that budget. So they are working on that now, and outdoor school lives in the Higher Education Coordinating Commission budget because the funding goes through OSU Extension to the schools. And so that budget is under consideration right now. And sometime around the first week of May or so, the Education Subcommittee will start considering that and taking testimony on that budget. At this point, they're framing their concept has full funding. And so that seems to be their inclination, but the process lasts well into June because usually the budget is one of the last things the legislature is able to pass. So it's in Ways and Means right now, and it'll be there until it comes out for a floor vote sometime in the summertime.
Thanks, Dan. The role of Friends of Outdoor School is, as you can see in our logo on the bottom right of the screen, to connect, support, and advocate. And that looks like connecting the outdoor school community throughout Oregon, supporting the statewide outdoor school system to realize the promise of equitable, inclusive, and affirming outdoor school. This includes outdoor school providers and sites, OSU Extension Service Outdoor School, school districts and ESDs, staff, family, volunteers, students, partners, and other stakeholders. We also advocate for funding, policy, and program improvement. Some of the other key players in the outdoor school landscape are OSU Extension, school districts and ESDs, the program sites, legislature, Gray Family Foundation, and other funders, as well as the donors and advocates. And the advocates are y'all, who play a huge role. So what is advocacy? Advocacy tells a story about a specific issue, provides education and clarification, and argues in favor of a cause or idea. And there is no limit to the amount of advocacy that a person or organization can do. Why is advocacy important? Through advocacy, we can make the world that we want a reality. Not all decision makers are familiar with outdoor school. A personal story about outdoor school makes it easier for decision makers to connect with it, especially for those who haven't been. The more decision makers know about the incredible impacts of outdoor school, the more likely they are to support it. So those personal stories are really huge in advocacy. I'm going to talk a little bit about advocacy versus lobbying. Advocacy is what we do and what you will help us with. So advocating means telling decision makers how a policy affects constituents. So we're going to use the word decision makers. That can mean legislators, someone on your school board, even a teacher or whoever runs outdoor school for your district. So that can mean a lot of different people. You can use social media to get the word out about a cause or issue, and social media is actually a great way to get in touch with legislators. One legislator actually told us that's one of the easiest ways to get a hold of him. And meeting with an elected official or other decision makers to explain how a particular problem or issue is affecting a particular group or organization or the environment. So that's advocacy. And then on the other side of that is lobbying. And we have some lobbyists who we work for the legislative team, and this is more what they do for us. So advocacy is more what y'all will be helping us with, and lobbying is what our legislative team helps with. So lobbying is asking decision makers to vote for or against, or to amend or introduce particular legislation. Emailing members of your group, asking them to contact decision makers in support of or opposition to legislation or pending regulation. Generating an online petition, asking members of your organization or members of the public to contact decision makers or support or oppose particular legislation. So if you want to advocate for outdoor school, the first thing that we recommend is to connect with us. Depending on what's happening, where we are in the legislative cycle, we can kind of direct you in what might be the best way to advocate at that time. So we mostly advocate, and our legislative team lobbies for Measure 99 funding every biennium is when that renews. And that's so we can continue to pay to send Oregon students to outdoor school with lottery funds. We'll take a minute. Does anyone have any questions right now? No? Am I missing anything in the chat? All right. Here are some of the different ways to advocate, and we'll go into these a little bit more in the advocacy toolkit. So letter writing, which means writing to your legislator, letters to the editor, letters and artwork from students, which is really impactful, and writing thank you notes to decision makers, offering personal testimony in town halls or public hearings, such as school board meetings, government committee hearings. That would be like the committee hearing that's coming up. The committee hearing that's coming up, we're going to have some folks testify, and we're getting some folks to write letters of support for that, as well as community town halls, school PA gatherings, and then in-person meetings, which include constituent meetings personally with legislators, as well as site tours. So now we are going to head over to our advocacy toolkit, and bear with me while I change what I'm sharing with y'all. There we go. All right, hopefully y'all are seeing our website right now. So you can pop over to the Advocate tab. Thanks, Dan. And that'll take you right to our advocacy toolkit. So this talks, really just goes into depth about what we were just talking about what advocacy is and why we advocate, and who can help all the different organizations and groups who make outdoor school happen. This how to find the right decision maker, that's a great place to start, because like I said, that decision maker might be your legislator, might be a school board member. There's a lot of different people who have influence on outdoor schools. So that is a great place to start. And if you're not sure who to contact to advocate for outdoor school, just get in touch with us and we can point you in the right direction. And then these tabs down here will go into more depth about the different ways to advocate. So we'll pop over to writing letters and emails. And finding your legislator, this is a great tool just to see who your legislator is and what district you're in. You can, if you click the link, you can just type in your address and it'll tell you who your senator is, who your representative is. Really nifty tool. Another thing that we love is for y'all to send us whatever you want to send to your legislator. A copy is great, but especially if it's an email, you can CC us. But if you are planning on sending a hard copy letter, you can send that to us, or you can even send a PDF to us and we can have it printed and hand delivered in regular times when the Capitol is open. We can have it hand delivered to legislators. And you can just do that. You can either email me or Dan or Kim, and we'll get that where it needs to be. Where it says template letter coming soon, sometimes we'll have a template letter. Right now we have talking points, which Dan can share in the chat. So if you would like to send a letter to your legislator, you can just use those talking points and go in whatever direction feels right for you with those talking points. And then this is really kind of step-by-step of writing a letter. Typed is fine. It does not need to be handwritten, but something typed up is great. And one of the things that I really want to touch on here is acknowledging past support. So doing a little bit of research about whether your legislator has supported outdoor school in the past, if they have not, why that might be. So doing a little research can help. If you are not finding information, feel free to touch base with us. Dan talks to a ton of legislators, and so we can hopefully get you some information if you aren't finding any. A little further down here, we have some other ways to use your writing skills to advocate for outdoor school. So a letter to the editor, this is especially impactful in smaller towns, might be a little harder in Portland, say, but to get a letter to the editor published. But it's just a great way to talk about outdoor school with the community. And letters and art from students are a great way. I mean, who wouldn't love a letter from a student saying how much fun they had at outdoor school and how much they learned? I know I wouldn't be able to resist that if I were a legislator. And writing thank you notes. Last year we did a big thank you campaign, and typically in kind of the off years, when Measure 99 has been fully funded, especially, we like to write thank you notes to let legislators know how much that funding means to everyone in the outdoor school community. And then personal testimony is often we will ask folks to provide personal testimony. So you don't need to be prepared 100% of the time, and we will contact you usually or put out a call for people who want to testify, and we can work with you one-on-one to feel ready for that and prepare. This how to prepare your personal testimony goes into more depth, as well as the quick tips for a town hall, just kind of understanding what to expect in those scenarios. And the in-person meetings, I want to dive a little bit deeper into. That's something where there's a couple different ways that those happen, but one of the, I would say, more frequent and in normal times, site tours. So we love to have legislators especially go out to outdoor school and see what outdoor school is all about, see kids learning in nature. And it's just a great way for legislators to understand outdoor school a little bit better, especially those who have never attended or don't have any family who have attended. So it's a great way to kind of just get folks out and understanding the importance of outdoor school and the impact that it has on lots of people's lives. For individual meetings, usually Dan and Chris from OSU Extension, we meet with legislators, and occasionally we'll have other folks join, but that's something that is, again, we would ask you to join, but you can always meet with your legislator one-on-one. We're going to talk a little bit more about calling your legislator. So these are things you are always welcome to do, and always welcome to reach out to us ahead of time and say, hey, I'm feeling really passionate about wanting to make sure outdoor school is funded, and I really want to talk to my legislator about it. What's the best way to go about that? So again, contact us. My email will be on the last slide, and you're welcome to contact any of us to talk about talking to your legislator or any decision maker for that matter. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the Outdoor School Community Network. This button here will take you to a Google form where you can just kind of fill out your info, has the best way to contact you, all of that. I know email gets very busy sometimes and things can get lost. So if you would rather receive a phone call or a text, let us know. And joining the community network means that you will receive some emails, but also sort of just be in our group of folks who are ready to advocate. And if we need letters of support or we need someone to testify, it means you're willing to be one of those people. If it's not the right time for you, you can always say no. So it's not a commitment to do everything all the time, but it just means that you are willing to advocate for outdoor school if the need arises. So I would encourage folks to click this button and sign up, especially if you don't already receive our emails. You'll just receive our general update emails, and then, which are not frequent, I will let you know, one, maybe a few a month, but nothing, we will not inundate you with emails, I promise. You can also check out our upcoming events page. We have events going on throughout the year to sort of update folks on what's happening, fun events as well as informative events. And then we also encourage you to share your story. Clicking right here, there's a share your story button in our main menu. Really having folks' stories allows us to share those with legislators as need be. So maybe there's a legislator who wants to know how outdoor school has impacted people's career choices. We can kind of go through our stories and see if we have any, and that way we're not bugging folks all the time for their stories, and we have a database and can reach into that database for different stories when we need to share those. And finally, calling your legislator. Calling people on the phone can just be a more personal way to connect with folks. So I think a lot of this applies, it's the same sort of thing as if we are meeting one-on-one with our legislators or with decision makers, but a phone call is really a great way to connect. As I said before, emails can sometimes get lost in our inboxes or sent to junk mail. So oftentimes a phone call, even if you don't reach the legislator, you can reach a staffer, and that can mean a lot to folks. So again, don't hesitate to reach out to us ahead of time. If you really want to give your legislator a call, we are happy to talk to you about what that can look like and any talking points that you might want to go over with them. That's pretty much the advocacy toolkit. One thing that I touched on earlier is social media. We don't have that on here, but it's a great way to connect with legislators. And we are posting stuff fairly regularly, and you're welcome to either just share what we're posting, post your own things, or just contact your legislators kind of through social media. And it also helps knowing what they are focusing on, kind of following your legislator on social media. So that's a great way to sort of connect. And I think it makes legislators a little more accessible than they may have been in the past. So I'm gonna pop back over to our slide. Let's see. And do we have any questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
So do most like state legislators have a personal Facebook page and then also their official state one? I mean, what are the rules around that? Like they have their campaign, they have their public official something, they have their personal one. Can they conduct, are there rules around what business or communications they can and cannot conduct on social media platforms in terms of advocacy and responding to constituents and all that? Because when they
You want me to jump in?
when they use their government issued email, it's like an official email that I think you can get public records access to. But if you if you direct message somebody on Facebook, I don't know.
Do you want me to answer, Sophia?
Yeah, go ahead, Kim.
If you are advocating for a particular issue, it's probably in your best interest to connect with that legislator officially. That way you are sure that the legislator's staff knows that you had you brought up an issue. If you know that person personally, there's no, or not even just any elected official. If you know an elected official personally, there is no reason that you cannot contact them privately, but it doesn't put your concerns into the public record. And usually most people would want their concerns to be in the public record, and that staff would have access to it too.
Right.
Because if you send an email, so if I send an email, if your wife ends up on Corbett School Board and I send her an email privately, that doesn't mean that she would necessarily have any obligation to put that information to other school board members. But if you're bringing up issues that you want to be part of the public conversation, then I recommend doing it through the public process. Does that answer the question, Benno?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it sort of depends on what your goal is, right? If the goal is to like on the record advocate for something, then it sounds like using their official email. But what excuse me one second. Hey Luca. So either but it also sounds like, you know, part of advocacy is just getting a conversation going with somebody, like getting their attention, getting them to respond to you, maybe building a little rapport, and then maybe you follow. I don't know. Like, so what Sophia was saying is that maybe some legislators are actually easier to kind of get at their attention if you go through social media platforms. And that made me wonder, are they the ones monitoring their social media? Is it their staff? Is it like?
Usually it's their staff, and unless you had a personal relationship with that person, I would be really respectful of their private accounts.
Right.
Dan, you have a comment?
No, I mean, because I've had legislators who are like, no, I mean, just like, I really like people, I'm on Facebook all the time on my, you know, not personal Facebook, but they have a whatever professional Facebook account or Twitter. And they're attending to it a lot, and they like you to reach out there, but others don't. So
right. So it's kind of figuring out the preference. You know, it's gonna be interesting as a new generation of legislators come up too that use social media a lot more. But it is an interesting work. You know, like I do communicate a lot with board members here about stuff, and I almost always use their private emails, because unless it's a conversation that I'm like directly advocating for something, maybe it's more I'm just checking in about something else, and I don't necessarily want it to be all public everything.
I think that's a good point too, because even if you're not an elected official, if you're a public employee, your email is subject to a public records request. So anything that you communicate with anybody who's on the public dime is subject to a public records request. It's a matter of now there are certain things they can, you know, what's the word when you block stuff out? Redact. If it has personally identifying information about students or that sort of thing. But.
Well, and I think social media too can be a great way to just get a pulse on where a legislator stands on certain things and what's important to them. If maybe outdoor school isn't on their radar and it needs to be, it might be a nudge, like sharing an article or so, you know, so that might be one way to go about using social media to get in touch with an elected official.
We also learned about like some strong supporters because they were posting stuff about outdoor school and shared some things that were, you know, really supportive and positive. And that was actually really nice to know, because then when we went in, we were like, hey, I saw your post and that was really cool. And tell me more about that. So.
And anytime if there's a particular decision maker that an advocate wants to connect with, they can connect with us and we can work with our government relations team to find out the best way, the most effective way to communicate with that particular person. Some people want phone calls, some people want letters, some people want social media.
Mm-hmm.
Good question.
Any other questions? All right. If we don't have any other questions, then I will let y'all get to the rest of your evening. But thank you very much for coming and learning about our advocacy toolkit, and feel free to poke around. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks you guys for putting that together. And to be honest, that's a good overview of just, you know, how to engage with folks and telling stories, and the difference between advocacy and lobbying. And so I guess I just want to kind of acknowledge that this was a nice little presentation, and I'm sorry that you don't have more people here, but sometimes, you know, you throw a party and people are busy and not that many people come. So I don't think that you should think this isn't great work and that you shouldn't offer it again. You know, just sort of figure out the timing, I guess. But this is actually, I found it to be a well-made and an important topic, and you put together a nice tool on your website. So I actually appreciate that you did this.
And just so you know, Benno, we are going to take the recording, and Sophia's going to spruce it up, and then the recording of each subject will be on the website, so people can go in and say, what is this? And then there'll be a little snippet about letter writing, stuff like that.
Yeah, well, thank you. And I definitely learned a lot of what I learned just working with Friends of Outdoor School some years ago. And
yes, you did.
maybe the most important lesson I learned was get to know the staffers.
That's exactly it. Get to know the staffers.
Oh,
And we will, I can stop the recording, I think, maybe.
And you've got several people who wanted to attend that you're going to send this recording to right away, right, Sophia?
Yeah.
Just so you know, Brenda and